Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ultra Bit Gaming. This is Juanito Shit speaking, and if anybody from Nintendo watches this video, I'd just like to let you know that I'm available for the position of new Smash Brothers announcer for your next iteration in the series. So contact me. I am not hard to find. Send me a message through email. Send me a message through Facebook. Send me a WhatsApp. If that's too much to ask for. And if that doesn't work, that's okay. I can always become the next Howard Finkel at WWE. Or something of that sort. Anyway, all bullshit aside, this is a video that I wanted to make about the SEGA Game Gear. This big ass thing. If you follow me over at Juanito Shit on Instagram or on Twitter or on Tumblr. I don't even use Twitter or Tumblr anymore, but in case you do, you can find me there. But you're not going to see me tweet me much or blog. Or reblog or anything that you do on Tumblr because Facebook is where I stay. But anyway, that's besides the point. I had Juanito Shit on Instagram, so I share nothing but gaming related stuff for the most part. Once in a while I may share a photo of a hot chick. So if you like hot chicks like I do, you know, give me a follow. But this is a video of this big ass thing, the SEGA Game Gear. And for all you modern gamers out there, in case you don't know what the Game Gear is, you've never seen it before, you've never heard of it, you've never played one, you've never smelled one. Well, the SEGA Game Gear is a portable console from the 90s that originally competed with consoles like the Game Boy from Nintendo and the Lynx from Atari. And it didn't do that bad, but it did not match the Game Boy in any way, shape, or form. It was bigger, it was bulkier. Well, it still is. I mean, look at the fucking piece of shit. Bigger and bulkier. That's what she said. But if you know your Sega history, your Sega shit, your Sega knowledge, whatever you want to call it, this video isn't exactly going to teach you anything that you don't already know. Because, well, there's not much to the Game Gear. It's a simpler console from a simpler... There, the car's passed. I'm gonna leave this shit in the video. Kids, don't record with the door open. The Sega Game Gear is a simpler handheld system from a simpler time. Back in the 90s, it just had the Game Boy to compete with, which didn't even have a backlit screen like this beauty does. Well, you didn't need 1,000 buttons on this thing back then. And if you own a Sega Game Gear, you know all this stuff. So I'm not going to teach you anything you don't already know. But in case you don't and you haven't seen any other videos regarding this handheld from Sega, right here on YouTube or anywhere else, well, hey, you might learn something. But this video isn't exactly a review. It's not well, it's just like, I don't know, a random rant blog thing that I decided to make as a sort of ode for the Sega Game Gear because I'm a big fan of this thing, even though I've only played a few games. And I'll show you those games right now. But I'm going to show you this thing up close so that you can see everything that it has physically. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the things that it can do. Do I have to do this? No. Do you have to watch this video? Not necessarily, but I thank you for doing it. So I'm going to show you this thing up close now because I've been rambling a lot. And I close the door so no more cars interrupt me while I'm recording. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this thing. I hope you enjoy it. ¿Tienes un Game Gear en tu bolsillo o solo te agrada verme? I'll leave you to figure out what that means in case you don't know Spanish. But this is the mighty Sega Game Gear from Sega from the 90s that competed against the Game Boy and the Atari Lynx and the Bandai Wonderswan and the Neo Geo Pocket and the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and I could go on and on naming fucking handheld consoles, but you know what? That would take me a little while, not too long. I'm not gonna exaggerate because there are people out there that know more about you know, the gaming, the past of the gaming industry in general than I do, but that's besides the point. I'm getting sidetracked all the fucking time. This is the mighty Sega Game Gear from Sega, which competed with the Game Boy and other handheld systems in the 90s, and it's a monstrous fucking console. It's heavier than the Game Boy. It's bigger than the Game Boy. Man, I should have taken my Game Boy out so I can compare the size of the original Game Boy with this thing, but I have it right under me right now, and I don't feel like taking it out. You guys know what the Game Boy looks like anyway, but it's thick. That's what she said, once again. It's big. It has a tiny fucking screen for its size, but it does have the directional pad, or the D-pad as I affectionately like to call it. It says Sega Game Gear right here, and it has those the red, blue, and green line things. That's just part of the logo of the Game Gear. I'm not sure why they have that, but you know. Oh wait, the colors, dumbass, the colors. Why else would they have them there? Because this thing says color, and the Game Boy didn't have color. So that's Sega for you in the 90s, sticking it to Nintendo, because Sega does what Nintendo don't, right? There's your power LED right there, and you have your 3-inch screen. I think it was 3 inches, 3 by 3 inches or something like that. I can't actually tell you that. I investigated that. I read that well over 2 years ago by now, so I don't remember. But the point is, it's despite the fact that it's much bigger than the Game Boy, the screen isn't all that big. But it, back in its time, it would have bright colors, and it still kind of does today. The older the Game Gear gets, the screen deteriorates over time, so you know, the image quality gets worse. You have the Sega logo right here, and it says, in case you can't see that, oh yeah, you can, with the glare of the light and everything, the Sega Portable Video Game System. Yeah, portable, in quotation marks. But that's what I love about the Game Gear too, that it's ridiculously big. There's your start button, and 1 and 2. There's no A and B to speak of here. You have button 1 and button 2. It doesn't get any more straightforward than that. And then you have your wrist strap things right here, so you can put the wrist strap in. I actually have one, and I don't actually use it when I play, because if this thing falls down and it hits the floor is the one that's gonna suffer. It's gonna be the one that breaks, because this thing is like a Nokia phone. If it hits anything else, whatever it hits, it's gonna break, and this thing ain't gonna suffer any damage at all. You look at the back, and in case you don't know this, it uses six, count them, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, double A batteries. So if you don't have rechargeables and you're looking to invest in a Sega Game Gear, well, you gotta buy those rechargeable batteries, because yeah, you're gonna need them. See, all of mine are rechargeable, and this thing will last you about 2 or 3 hours with the batteries fully charged. So if you don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of dollars or pesos or yenes or quid or whatever, wherever the hell it is you're watching this from, so you know, you gotta buy those rechargeables, because you're gonna have to keep them charging over and over again, putting the batteries. Or you could just buy a 9-volt adapter. Where the fuck was this thing? Let me find it. Oh, up here. Yeah, I thought it was up here. You can see that right there. It says 9 volts. You might not be able to see it. See, it says right there, 9 DC 9V. So you have a 9-volt adapter that's compatible with this thing, that'll fit in there. Then you can use that. You can just plug it into the wall, and you don't need the batteries. But really, this is a portable system, and it's meant to be taken with you wherever the fuck you go, so that you can bash people over the head with it and kill them, kill your enemies. And right here you have the cartridge slot, and as you can see, I have one of my 2 copies of Sonic the Hedgehog, one of the best games for the Game Gear, because Sonic is excellent on the Sega Genesis, Sonic is excellent on the Master System, Sonic is excellent on the Game Gear as well. It's a game, one of Sonic's greatest games. It's definitely different from the Sega Genesis version, and the Master System version of the Sonic the Hedgehog game is the same as this one. So if you played Sonic on the Master System but you haven't played it on the Game Gear, you're getting pretty much the exact same game, although the Master System does look slightly better. I played it on the Wii, on a cousin's Wii, a little while back, just the very beginning, but it looked great, and it was just as good. It was freaking fun. So that's the Game Gear for you, pretty much. Oh wait, I didn't talk about the headphone jack. I mean, what's a handheld console without a headphone jack, right? Game Boy Advance SP. You have the volume control right here, and you have your power switch right there. The speaker on this thing doesn't exactly work, and neither does the headphone jack. So unfortunately, when I play this thing, I can't hear any of the sound. So I could, when I first got it, I bought it from a friend who bought it off the swap meet, and he sold it to me. And at that time, which was around 2 years ago, I'd say, the speaker just barely worked, and if you play this thing right, pressed right to your face, you could still hear some of the sound, some of the music, and Sonic the Hedgehog, for example. But unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. Not even with headphones can you hear the music, the delightful 8-bit Sega Game Gear music. So that's a Sega Game Gear for you, big ass bulky thing. It's awesome, and if you want to invest and you want to purchase a Game Gear, you should probably do it online, because most people don't want these anymore. If they have them lying around, they put them up for sale online, and they're not that expensive from what I hear. And neither are the games. You could buy a crap load of games for the Sega Game Gear for $1 or $2 each if you look online on eBay or Amazon, or I don't know, Mercado Libre if you're right here in Mexico like I am. And well, yeah, collecting for the Game Gear isn't all that expensive when compared to other consoles from around the same time, like the NES and the Super Nintendo and even the Sega Genesis, because some of the game cartridges for those consoles go for a lot of freaking money. So the Game Gear, it's great if you don't mind all the batteries and the low amount of playtime per charge in those batteries. And if you want to surprise people and you go out somewhere to a party and shit, and you whip this thing out while people are playing their 3DSs and their new 3DSs if you're in Japan, and your fucking PS Vita. Wait, nobody wants a PS Vita, right? I'm just kidding. The PS Vita looks like a good console. But yeah, they're playing their Vitas or 3DSs or PSPs or DSs, and you whip this fucking thing out, and you're like, people will go, holy shit. And if they insult the mightiness of the Sega Game Gear, you can just use this thing as a weapon and crush their skulls. And trust me, it'll do the job. It really will. But that's about it for my thoughts on the Game Gear. It's a great console, cheap to collect for, and if you've never played one, you definitely should before you die. Put that on your bucket list. And I also have some of my Game Gear games right here. Well, that's actually all of them. I have 2 copies of the first Sonic the Hedgehog, which I showed you. And this past Sunday, today is Wednesday, I bought Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because I came across of it. I bought it for 30 pesos, which is around $2.50 in US money. And it was a rare opportunity for me to get a Game Gear game, because Game Gear games in this goddamn city and probably in the entire state are not very common. You don't come across them very often. So it came in this case, and it works like a champ. I didn't even have to clean it or anything because the pins are pretty damn clean, and it's excellent. So if you get a Sega Game Gear and you want to collect for it, you have excellent games like the trilogy of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then you also have Tails Adventure, and you have what was the other one? There was another Sonic game. I don't remember. You have Sonic Spinball as well, and you also have the Mortal Kombat games. Not the best versions, naturally, of Mortal Kombat, because I mean, fighting games in 8-bit systems don't generally get along very well. But this version of the original Mortal Kombat is actually not that bad. Watch, I'll put it on, and this video is well over 10 minutes long by now, and I apologize for that. But hey, I'm gonna show you real quick before I end the video that the Game Gear, well, this one doesn't look all that bad. Just turn it on, and alright, I'm gonna have to blow on the cartridge. Alright, modern gamers don't know what it's like to blow on a cartridge. There, that's gonna fix all of its issues, because this has less issues with games than my Game Boys or even my Super Nintendo or NES. And no, it's not low. Oh wait, I see what the problem is. The batteries are dead, or well, they're not dead. I don't know what's up, but I was playing this just yesterday, and the batteries weren't out yet. The LED wasn't dim or anything while I was playing. But that's a Sega Game Gear, and well, apparently the batteries won't let me show you any quick gameplay or visuals of the games. But that's the Sega Game Gear for you. And if you're looking to invest in one, or you just found this video interesting, hey, hit that like button, and check out our other videos right here on Ultra Big Gaming. I might do reviews of these games, or I might not. We'll see. If you'd like to see them, comment below. Let me know, and I will do that for you, so you can look at the games. I mean, nowadays people would tell you, hey, why spend money on the consoles like the Game Gear, which nobody cares about anymore. But the Game Gear has a massive library of great 2D platformers and shooters and RPGs and puzzle games like Columns and Shining Force, which I actually have on this other Game Gear up here, which doesn't work. But yes, Shining Force and stuff. It has a great library of full of variety. So if you invest in a Game Gear, you're not losing, you have nothing to lose pretty much but a couple of bucks. So yeah, you can just go out of your way to get an emulator on your PC and play it, and that's fine. But nothing ever beats the real thing when it comes to handheld portable systems or even home consoles. So hey, that's the Sega Game Gear for you. I'm gonna stop talking now because damn, I have over 11.5 minutes now of this part of the video alone. So hey, this was Juanito Shit, and I thank you for checking out the Ultra Big Gaming channel and this video. If you enjoy the mighty beast of a handheld that is the Game Gear, well, let me know, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.